Every single atom of carbon in the body you are sitting in right now was um, forged in a violent, just unimaginable cosmic explosion millions of years ago.
Yeah, which is kind of wild to think about.
Right. And today, we're basically looking at the ultimate family photo. So welcome to the deep dive. We have a very unique mission for you today.
We do. We are taking two sources that, well, on the surface, they seem to exist in completely different universes.
Totally. And we are going to bridge them. So on one hand, we have this stack of astronomical data from NASA and Wikipedia detailing a stunning 5 million-year-old stellar nursery known as NGC 602.
Right, which is often referred to as the Oyster Cluster.
Yeah, the Oyster Cluster. And then on the other hand, we have a modern spoken word audio transcript. It's titled Common Conscious Connection.
Right, and it's this passionate, really poetic piece exploring human unity, the shared frequency of the 8.2 billion people on Earth, and, our origins as conscious beings.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because typically, you look at hard space science, temperatures, distances, ionization rates, and then you look at modern poetry about humanity's shared soul, and you keep those things in separate boxes.
Oh, absolutely. They don't usually mix.
Right. But we are going to use the breathtaking mechanics of NGC 602 to actually physically ground the urgent message in this transcript. Before we can talk about the universal connection the artist is proposing, we really need to understand the literal universe they're referencing.
Yeah, we need to put you, the listener, right inside the oyster.
Exactly. So how do we get there?
Well, to get there, you have to look far beyond our own Milky Way. NGC 602 is located roughly 200,000 light years away in the Small Magellanic Cloud.
Which is a satellite galaxy, right?
Yep, it orbits our own. And the cluster itself was originally discovered in 1826 by a Scottish astronomer named James Dunlop.
Wow, 1826. So he was using pretty early tech.
Exactly. What he saw through his telescope back then barely scratched the surface. I mean, today, when you look at the composite images from NASA combining different wavelengths of light, it looks like this brilliant, glowing, open oyster shell made of gas and dust.
Hence the name.
Right, with a collection of these radiant, jewel-like stars sitting right in the center.
And it looks incredibly peaceful in the photographs, but the data tells a completely different story about what's actually happening in that central core. Right. The cluster is dominated by what the data calls young O and B class stars.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's pause there for a second, because a phrase like O and B class stars is, well, it's exactly the kind of textbook astronomy term that needs unpacking.
Oh, for sure.
What makes these stars different from, say, our own sun?
The difference is really about scale, temperature, and lifespan. So astronomers classify stars using letters based on their heat. And O-class stars are basically the absolute behemoths of the universe.
Like massive.
Massive. They are the hottest, most massive, and most luminous stars in existence. I mean, our sun is a G-class star, which is relatively calm and yellow and stable.
Right, just doing its thing.
Exactly. But an O-class star is blue, furiously hot, and it burns through its nuclear fuel incredibly fast.
And the undisputed king of this specific cluster is an O3 main sequence star known as S2083. And the data mentions that the energetic radiation from SARO 183 drives the ionization of the surrounding nebula.
Yeah.
What is physically happening to the gas and dust when it gets ionized by this massive star? Like, what does that actually mean?
Okay, so SARO 183 is blasting out an unfathomable amount of ultraviolet light and intense stellar winds.
Just a crazy amount of energy.
Right, and that ultraviolet light carries so much energy that when it hits the surrounding atoms of gas in the nebula, it literally strips the electrons right off those atoms.
Wow.
That process is ionization. It charges the gas, which is what causes the entire nebula to glow so brilliantly in our telescope images.
But those stellar winds are also physically pushing the material away, right? Like the massive stars are clearing out the lighter gas and dust.
Yes, they are eroding the original shell of material that they themselves were actually born from.
Okay, wait. So if this giant star is acting like a cosmic leaf blower, blasting all the dust and gas away, wouldn't that destroy the stellar nursery? How do you get new stars out of a cavity that's being constantly emptied?
See, that is the paradox of stellar creation. It seems like destruction, but it's actually the engine of new life.
Really? How so?
As those shock waves push the gas and dust outward, that material doesn't just disappear. It piles up at the edges of the cavity.
Oh, I see.
The outward pressure compresses the surrounding dust clouds so intensely that the friction and density reach this critical tipping point.
Okay.
The material gets packed so tightly that it ignites, collapsing under its own gravity to form brand new stars along the ridges of the dust clouds. Astronomers call this progressive star formation.
Okay, so to visualize this, it's kind of like a fleet of massive snowplows pushing through a parking lot.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. They're clearing the center, yes, but they're packing the snow so densely at the edges of the lot that the snow itself transforms under the pressure. So the destruction of the initial birth shell is the exact trigger required to spark the next generation of stars.
Exactly. And those newly sparked stars are what we call pre-main sequence stars.
Pre-main sequence, so like baby stars.
Yeah, they are essentially infant stars. They've gathered enough mass to get incredibly hot and bright, but they haven't quite started the sustained nuclear fusion of hydrogen in their cores yet.
They're just waking up.
Right, they are just on the verge of waking up.
Which honestly brings us to a fascinating parallel with our second source, that audio transcript, Common Conscious Connection.
Oh, definitely.
We transition from the literal birth of stars out of cosmic dust to the birth of human consciousness.
Oh, great.
Because the shock waves of progressive star formation you just described, the physical friction and pressure required to spark something new that maps perfectly to the vibration and frequency, the artist argues, is currently uniting humanity.
Yeah, the transcript is this really impassioned plea to look past our surface-level differences.
Right, the things that divide us.
Exactly. The artist observes 8.2 billion people searching for an identity, often distracted by politicians fighting, by religious divides, and, by racial borders.
Yeah, all the noise.
And the artist impartially steps back from all of that noise and just asks the listener to consider our shared anatomy. The text argues that humanity is one massive family running on the same divine energy.
And the artist uses a very specific phrase. They call humans light-body beings in a carbon heart and melanin travelers from the galaxy.
It's very striking.
It is. And to hammer home this idea that we are all existing on the exact same wavelengths, the track uses a mathematical trick.
Yes, the 2026 equation.
Right. The artist says, take the year you were born and add your age. Now the whole world is standing on the same page.
It is a striking moment for the listener, for sure.
Okay, but let's pause on that math for a second, because I'll be honest, the first time I read it, my immediate reaction was a bit skeptical.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you tell me to take my birth year, let's say someone is born in 1990.
Yeah.
And you add their age, which would be 36, that equals the current year, 2026.
Right.
If you were born in 2000, your age is 26. You add them together, and you get 2026. It's a mathematical tautology.
Yeah.
Like, it literally has to equal the current year for every single human being on the planet.
Well, by definition, yes. The math is inescapable.
Right. But thinking about it deeper, the fact that it's a typology is exactly what makes it a genius psychological tool for this specific track.
How so?
Well, the artist isn't trying to solve an algebraic mystery. They're forcing the listener to stop, do the math in their own head, arrive at the number 2026, and then realize that every other human being walking the earth doing that same math arrives at the exact same number. It instantly grounds you in the shared present moment.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it acts as an equalizer.
Yes, an equalizer.
The mathematical trick reveals a hidden, unifying constant that applies to everyone, regardless of background. And this is really where the transcript and the astrophysical data from NGC 602 truly intersect.
Right, because when the track calls us light-body beings in a carbon heart, it sounds like pure poetry. But looking at the astronomy data, it's actually a literal, factual description of our biology.
It is.
I want to dig into that carbon heart concept. The artist is saying we are travelers from the galaxy, closed in carbon. So how does the science of a star cluster, like NGC 602, explain the carbon in our own bodies?
Well, it comes down to where the elements in the universe actually originate.
Okay.
During the Big Bang, the universe only produced the lightest elements, hydrogen, helium, and a tiny trace of lithium.
Just the basics.
Exactly. There was no carbon, no oxygen, no iron. And you cannot build a human body or a planet out of just hydrogen and helium.
So where does the carbon come from then?
It's forged in the nuclear furnaces of stars, massive stars, precisely like those O and B class stars we see blazing in the center of the Oyster cluster.
Oh.
Yeah, they spend their lives crushing hydrogen atoms together to make helium. But as they age and run out of hydrogen, the pressure and temperature in their cores become so extreme that they start fusing heavier and heavier elements.
So they basically cook the carbon.
Exactly. They fuse helium into carbon. They fuse carbon into oxygen, and when those massive stars eventually die and explode in supernovas, they violently eject all of that synthesized carbon out into the cosmic dust clouds.
The same dust clouds that eventually get swept up to form new planets.
Yes, every single atom of carbon in your DNA, in your cells, in your carbon frame, was quite literally manufactured in the heart of an ancient star before being scattered across space.
That is just incredible. So when the transcript suggests that our physical bodies are essentially recycled stardust moving on a temporary journey, they aren't speaking metaphorically, like at all.
No, it's literal.
The universe spent billions of years cooking up the carbon required to hold your current consciousness. You literally are the galaxy walking around in a temporary carbon suit.
It fundamentally changes how you view a divided world, doesn't it?
It really does.
If you look at human conflict through the lens of astrophysics, every person on Earth shares the exact same origin story. We are all built from the same stellar debris.
That's heavy. And the track also spends a considerable amount of time dwelling on this concept of deep time and hidden realities.
Right, yeah.
The artist references massive, almost incomprehensible timescales. They say things like 15 dimensions deep, 15 million years through memory, and 560 million years ago.
Yeah, it evokes this very strong feeling of ancient, buried truths.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how that theme of hidden deep time plays out literally in the Hubble Space Telescope image of NGC 602.
Oh, it's a stunning visual representation of time travel.
It is, because the Oyster cluster itself is relatively young. We established it's only about 5 million years old.
Right, basically a toddler in cosmic terms.
Exactly. But if you look past the glowing gas and the young stars in the foreground of that Hubble image, the background is just littered with hundreds of other shapes.
And those shapes are entirely different galaxies.
Right.
And this is where the speed of light plays tricks on our perception. Because light takes time to travel across the universe, looking further out into space means looking further back in time.
So it's not happening right now.
Nope. The light from NGC 602 took 200,000 years to reach the telescope, but the light from that tantalizing assortment of background galaxies has been traveling for hundreds of millions of years.
So in a single flat photograph, we are seeing deep time stacked on top of itself. The present, the recent past, and the ancient past are all arriving in our eyes at the exact same moment.
The layers are just profound.
Yeah. And the transcript ties into this idea of unearthing things we couldn't see before, too. The artist writes, maybe the universe has been speaking clear, but humanity just wasn't ready to hear.
That's a great line.
Right. They talk about looking up at NGC 64 and seeing a cosmic face staring back. The recurring theme seems to be that there are realities right in front of us that we lack the capacity to perceive.
Which is so true.
How does that map to our historical understanding of NGC 602?
It maps flawlessly, honestly. I mean, for nearly 2 centuries after James Dunlop first spotted the cluster in 1826, astronomers were essentially blind to a massive portion of its reality.
Really?
Yeah, the universe was speaking clearly, but our instruments literally were not ready to hear it or, well, see it.
Why couldn't we see it? I mean, if we had telescopes powerful enough to spot the central stars, what were we missing?
We were missing the infant stars hidden inside the dust.
Oh, because the dust clouds.
Exactly. The problem is optical light, the kind of light our human eyes and standard telescopes see. Optical light gets easily blocked and scattered by thick clouds of cosmic dust.
Okay, that makes sense.
So when astronomers looked at NGC 602, the dust acted like a curtain, hiding the pre-main sequence stars forming inside the ridges.
So they were there, we just couldn't see them.
Right. It wasn't until we deployed the Spitzer Space Telescope, which observes the universe in infrared light, that the curtain was finally pulled back.
Wait, what makes infrared different? Like, how does it pierce through the dust?
It has to do with the wavelength of the light.
Okay.
Infrared light has a much longer wavelength than visible light. Think of visible light like tiny ripples in a pond. If they hit a rock, they splash and scatter. The rock blocks them.
Got it.
But infrared light is more like a massive rolling ocean wave. It just washes right over and around the small rocks, or in this case, the microscopic dust particles.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, so by looking in infrared, the Spitzer telescope could bypass the dust entirely and detect the heat glowing from all these hidden infant stars.
And our ability to hear the universe's hidden realities took an even bigger leap very recently. The data mentions a massive breakthrough in 2024 using the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yes, the JWST is the most powerful infrared observatory we have ever built, period.
It's incredible.
And when it trained its mirrors on NGC 602 in 2024, it revealed a population of candidate brown dwarfs.
Okay, I know the term brown dwarf gets thrown around in astronomy articles a lot, but for the listener trying to picture this, what exactly is a brown dwarf and why is finding them such a big deal?
A brown dwarf is often described as a failed star.
A failed star.
Yeah, it's an object that is much larger and heavier than a gas giant planet like Jupiter, but it doesn't quite have enough mass to generate the extreme internal pressure needed to ignite sustained nuclear fusion.
So it never turns on.
Exactly. It gets warm, it glows very faintly, but it never fully turns into a star. And because they are so incredibly faint, detecting them is one of the hardest challenges in astronomy.
So why is finding them specifically in NGC 602 a landmark discovery?
Because of the distance. Prior to this 2024 discovery, we had only ever been able to find brown dwarfs relatively close to home, like inside our own Milky Way galaxy.
Wait, really? So this was the first time?
Yes. The JWST observation of NGC 602 was the very first time humanity had ever detected brown dwarfs outside of our own galaxy. They had been sitting there in the Small Magellanic Cloud for millions of years right in front of us, but we just didn't have the technological consciousness to perceive them until now.
The parallels are remarkable, and there's one more specific detail from the NASA data about the cluster's location that I think serves as the ultimate metaphor for what the artist of the audio transcript is trying to achieve.
Oh, what's that?
Well, you mentioned earlier that NGC 602 is in the Small Magellanic Cloud, but it isn't located in the dense, chaotic center of that galaxy, is it?
No, it actually sits on the outskirts. Astronomers note that it is highly isolated out in what they call the wing of the Small Magellanic Cloud.
The wing.
Right. This wing is a region leading out toward the Magellanic Bridge, which is a massive stream of gas that physically connects the Small Magellanic Cloud to its neighbor, the Large Magellanic Cloud.
Why does that isolation in the wing matter to the scientists studying the cluster? Does it make it easier to see?
Exactly, because isolation removes the noise. If you try to study star formation in the crowded center of a galaxy, there is just too much interference.
Too many other stars getting in the way.
Yeah, there are overlapping gravitational pulls, radiation from countless other stars, and really complex chemical mixing.
Ah, okay.
But out in the isolated wing, the chemical properties of the gas are still very similar to the rest of the galaxy, yet the environment is quiet. It gives scientists a pristine laboratory to study the pure, fundamental mechanics of how star formation works without all the background chaos.
Think about what the artist is doing in the Common Conscious Connection transcript. It's the exact same thing. The artist is actively trying to pull human consciousness out of the chaotic, crowded center.
Yeah, asking us to step back.
Right. They're asking the listener to step away from the political noise, to step away from the borders, the religious divisions, the racial friction. The artist wants to isolate humanity in the metaphorical wing so that we can study our pure fundamental properties.
Like our capacity for love, our shared pain, our collective search for identity.
Exactly. The isolation serves the same purpose in both disciplines.
That's a profound way to look at it. The astronomer isolates the star cluster to understand the underlying physics governing the universe. The artist isolates the human experience to understand the underlying nature of the soul.
Both are searching for the fundamental reality that governs the system, and both arrive at the exact same conclusion. Everything is undeniably connected.
Yeah, it really is.
Whether you were observing the ionizing radiation of an O3 star compressing a dust cloud into new suns, or you were observing the shared emotional frequency of 8.2 billion people searching for meaning, you are looking at a system of profound interconnected dependency.
The elements that allow you to perceive the universe were, in fact, forged by the universe itself.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. The track poses a profound question. What if the body was only temporary clothing for an eternal awareness?
That's a question that sticks with you.
It really does. We have spent this entire deep dive looking backward. We look back 5 million years to the birth of the Oyster cluster. We look back hundreds of millions of years at the background galaxies.
And we looked back billions of years to the massive stars that forged the carbon currently acting as your temporary clothing.
We have mapped the past.
Yeah.
But consider the future.
The future.
Because this mechanism of destruction creating new life, it doesn't stop with us.
No, it doesn't.
Roughly 5 billion years from now, our own sun will reach the end of its life. It will expand, shed its outer layers, and violently exhale.
Returning the material to the void.
Exactly. When it does, it will blow the carbon atoms of our planet, the very atoms making up your eyes, your heart, and the device you are listening to right now, out into the interstellar medium.
It's just incredible to picture.
Those atoms will drift for eons, but eventually they will be caught in a new shockwave. They will be packed into a new dense ridge of dust. They will ignite into a new birth shell.
The cycle continues.
And billions of years after that, your carbon, your temporary closing, might become the building blocks for a completely different conscious being. Someone standing on a new world, looking up at their own night sky and wondering where they came from.
We are part of an endless chain of creation.
So when you look at that Hubble image of the Oyster cluster, you aren't just looking at cold astronomical data. You are looking at the mechanism that built you and the mechanism that will eventually recycle you into whatever comes next.
Beautifully said.
We'll see you next time.
We are one. Connected through time. Connected through life. Connected through life. Can you see it? Can you see it? No, 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 no. Yeah. Who's trying to see the real reality? The hidden code inside humanity. Different faces but the same anatomy. Universal truth and the commonality. Look around, tell me, what do you see? 8.2 billion family. Everybody searching for identity, but the answer lives inside the frequency. Love and pain in the carbon frame. Rich or poor, we all feel the same. Trying to find purpose while we chase the fame, but the eternal flame can't be contained. The world is divided by religion and race. Still, every soul came from the same place. Time is moving fast, gotta elevate. 2027 knocking at the gate. We gotta come together, find a better way before the night is over, before we fade away. You and me, connected consciously, as above, so below. Now the whole world knows.
Are you wanting 6 hit in 2026? Let me ask again, are you riding with this? Take the year you were born and add your age. Now the whole world is standing on the same page.
1, 2, 3, it's you and me.
Common conscious connection universally.
From the east side
To the overseas, we are one frequency in eternity.
1, 2, 3 in 2026. Everybody everywhere got a vibe to this. Common number, common soul, common spark. Light body beings in a carbon heart.
Yeah, take the last 2 digits now, add your years. Watch the whole equation suddenly appear. People waking up everywhere on earth, realizing consciousness has no borders. 26 and up now, beat the code. Universal math hidden in the soul. Nobody better, nobody beneath. Every human being has divine energy. Politicians are fighting while the people are divided, but the universe is calling from deep inside. We gotta rise higher than the fear and lies. See the eternal flame behind the eyes. Melanin travelers from the galaxy. Ancient memories inside anatomy. Common body journey temporarily, but consciousness itself lives infinitely.
What if the answer was never separation? What if humanity was in one vibration? What if the body was only temporary clothing for an eternal awareness traveling through time? Are you wanting 26 in 2026? Stand up worldwide if you vibing with this. Run the formula. Now open your eyes. Universal connection can't be denied. 1, 2, 3, it's destiny. Common conscience, family, collectively. All around the earth, we can finally see we were always one in infinity.
15 dimensions in consciousness deep. 15 million years through memory. 560 million years ago. Light body beings in the cosmic flow. Now we walk on earth in carbon skin, trying to remember where we've really been. Searching through the stars for the truth within. Then the higher self finally kicks in. NGC 642.
Type it in.
See the cosmic face staring
Back again.
Maybe the universe has been speaking clear, but humanity just wasn't ready to hear. Now the time has come.
Yeah, here we are.
2026.
Underneath the stars.
Melanin people, raise your flame up high. Consciousness awakening worldwide.
We are one flame, one consciousness, one consciousness, one eternal connection. As above, so below. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know.
2026.
Hey.
2026.
Hey.
Trying to rap.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3.